Chapter 86. Florida man travels abroad for a month and leaves his infant daughter home. After sending Wu Bai away, Leo visited the clothing store. He wondered what the weird mannequin was doing after he had assigned her a job. Upon getting into the clothing store, Leo dropped his jaw. He thought that he entered a woman's fashion store. Glittering evening dresses lined up in rows and stacked into a wall. After a rough counting, there were at least 200 or so. The cat-eared mannequin tilted her head when she saw Leo, but her 1,000 small needle arms never stopped weaving a new dress. Leo picked one of them up. It was a one-piece dress that Hollywood actresses loved to wear as it revealed a lot of skin. However, there was something special. As Leo touched the dress, the clothing store menu appeared and revealed the attributes of the cloth. Evening dress of virgin yin yang, made from the skin of a supreme being. Grant physical attack immunity effects to the wearer. Cannot be destroyed by chi attacks or physical attacks. Automatically provide yin and yang element essence to the wearer. You're not planning to wear this, are you? Leo frowned as the system mocked him. He face-bombed and looked at the cat-ear mannequin. All right, I guess it's time for you to try something new. Leo explored the online shopping system and purchased something he always wanted to have. A pair of shorts. The temperature never went over 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius, at noon, and it dropped to 50, 10 Celsius, at night. However, as someone who had lived 50,000 years in a freezing cold world, this world's temperature was uncomfortable. He always had the urge to take off his robes and roll with his trusty shorts. He bought the softest shorts that beachgoers loved. Then, he passed it to the maid mannequin. Make this instead. I need 5 of these for my daily wear. I'm tired of wearing loose robes. The cat-ear maid took the shorts and inspected them. She nodded several times and resumed making the last evening dress. This time, she didn't bother asking for Leo's skin, as if she still had plenty of energy to make more threads. Ding! You have researched swim shorts. Your automaton will try to create a better version of swim shorts. Leo left the worker alone. While he was at it, he updated the clothing store status. Clothing store level 8. Automaton worker, 0/5. Automaton weaver, 1/5. Weaver skills, 5 out of 5, max. Store quality, 2 out of 5. Upgrade, 1,000 years of lifespan. Research. Leo thought about adding more workers, but the quality was a must. Currently, the clothing store still required a lot of improvement as the interior was too small, compared to the other buildings. 90% of the interior was made of wood, which didn't suit the atmosphere of a clothing store. Before those women return, I should get this store ready. There are a lot of things to buy: display mannequins, cloth hangers, cloth displays, and changing rooms. Hell, I don't think level 3 or 4 in a quality store is enough. I need to max that, but I might need to upgrade the general store to level 11. Then, the store will be vulnerable. Damn it! Leo scratched his head, having a headache. He couldn't figure out how he could improve the security in his shop domain in a week, as Hua Jiashan and his subordinates were too weak. He required a more useful underling. Hiya! I wish this world was like one of those Chinese novels. I wish a protagonist or Heaven's Chosen One would visit my store and serve me or something. I need a super strong guy. God damn it. Achoo! Gao Yan sneezed while he listened to Wu Bai's instructions. He rubbed his nose in confusion, wondering how a cultivator like him got sick. Wu Bai smirked at Gao Yan. What? Are you nervous that I choose you? After Leo entrusted Wu Bai to select someone to come along, the latter went directly to his core disciple, Gao Yan. He was in the middle of teaching his disciple survival skills. Before Wu Bai could finish lecturing, Gao Yan sneezed and interrupted him. The former was amused. Seriously, cultivators like us rarely get sick. But you actually sneeze? It appears that you haven't solidified your foundation enough. A foundation establishment stage cultivator should be immune to common diseases and illnesses, except external poison. Well, it's different if you cultivate poison element. Gao Yan tilted his head and showed his master a spirit stone, which Leo had distributed to every disciple as compensation for the previous incident. As it came directly from the recycling center, it contained all types of element chi. Actually, master, I think I'll be able to cultivate a new element soon. I can somewhat manipulate fire and water now, thanks to Senior Florida Man's spirit stone. You what? Wu Bai almost vomited blood when he noticed the quality of the spirit stone. It was 100 times better than spirit stones in the market as its chi was fresh and thick. Even Wu Bai was jealous that Gao Yan had it. Gao Yen also dropped a light bomb, revealing his little secret. Also, Master, when I went up to the flying island, I had a thought. What if I cultivate all elements at the same time and harmonize them this way? Will that work? Also, I sense that on the island there's a lot of an unknown element qi. I think it's related to wind or storm. Master, what do you think? Wu Bai widened his eyes and looked at Gao Yen in disbelief. He pressed his finger on Gao Yan's left wrist to feel his pulse and his internal qi. Then, he sensed multiple elemental qi inside him. Fire qi, water qi, earth qi, metal qi, wind qi, poison qi, and wood qi swirled inside him. Moreover, his virgin blood produced thick yang qi, maintaining his bodily balance. Are you really my disciple? Wu Bai was speechless. Of course I am. Why? I think you should take a look at. Wu Bai suddenly burst into laughter. He thought that he had hit the jackpot. Gao Yen was not just talented, but he might be a genius that every major sect craved for. If Wu Bai managed to nurture Gao Yen well, the latter might grow up into a supreme expert, surpassing every quasi-immortal in this world. I'm glad I chose you, Gao Yen. Very well. I'll make you the strongest alchemist in Yen Empire. Okay. Be more enthusiastic, damn brat. Recite what I taught you earlier. What will you do if you encounter a stronger monster beast in the mystic realm? Oh right. Toss meat at it and slowly walk backward while staring at the monster. Good. What about multiple beasts? Throw a pheromone potion and a blood pack at one of them. Then, run. Good. What about a weaker monster? Catch it ASAP. You fool. Bonk. Wu Bai smacked Gao Yan's head and scolded him. You can't tame monster beasts. Only soul formation cultivators or stronger cultivators like Lord Florida Man can tame them. The lecture continued. The next day morning, Leo and Wu Bai instructed the disciples to resume their routines and cultivate diligently as they would leave the domain for at least 2 weeks. The disciples weren't stupid. They had seen the Mystic Realm portal platform, and they figured that Wu Bai and Leo would join the seasonal expedition. Thus, they looked at Gao Yen in envy. Lucky you. Damn ass kisser. Hey, he's Elder Wu's disciple for a reason. Tisk. Not everybody was happy with Gao Yen, who was chosen behind the scene. Seeing their expressions, Leo figured out how they felt. He came up with a solution. Because of my absence, your work might be more difficult. Therefore, I'll give everybody here a bonus. For every day you do your job perfectly, I'll give you 1 spirit stone. Don't be sad. Okay? Hearing that they would get 1 spirit stone per day, the disciples were delighted. Nobody was mad anymore. After calming the angry crowd, Leo led Wu Bai and Gao Yen to the elevator. They then ascended to the flying platform while the disciples sent them off. Upon getting back to the portal, Leo rechecked Gao Yen and Wu Bai's status and belongings. As usual, they didn't carry anything on them except a few rings. On the other hand, Leo came with a backpack, full of water supply and a box of grain pills and water element grain pills for emergency. As everybody was ready, Leo activated the portal. The flying ring stopped spinning. It began consuming qi and created a 3-meter diameter oval portal. Ding! You have activated the Mystic Realm portal. The destination is Planet Rabbit Trent A3. Generating information and objectives. Planet Rabbit Trent A3. Local beasts are the lords of this unexplored world. As it is thick in wood and earth qi, the local monsters excel in defense and self-regeneration. However, due to the recent infestation of sweet dream mushroom, a portion of this world is not suitable for weak cultivators to explore. Please tread with caution. Primary objectives. 1. Kill Rabbit Trent King. 2. Absorb Gnosis of Rabbit Trent King. Secondary objective. 1. Locate Entity Fate Crystal in Sweet Dream Mushroom Forest. 2. Absorb Entity Fate Crystal. Svel.Siamikronem Exploration Rewards. 3 free tickets. Ownership of Planet Rabbit Trent A3. Secondary rewards. 1 lucky draw. The portal will close in 34 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 57 seconds. Good luck. For once, the system finally gave Leo some quests. He was excited to see something different. Meanwhile, Wu Bai and Gao Yen couldn't see the quest panel or the system screen. They gazed at the portal and gulped, waiting for Leo to take the lead. Whoosh! The wind on the platform got stronger, and Gao Yen fell to his knees as he couldn't maintain his balance. Wu Bai immediately grabbed his disciple's collar and dragged him to the portal first. After seeing the 2 eager cultivators crossing the gate, Leo followed them. But before he went in, he glanced at the 4 statues. For an unknown reason, Leo felt like they were laughing at him. He wondered what they were. He ignored them and entered the portal. As soon as Leo crossed the gate into another world, the ball-like cat statue let out a sound again. Munya. Chapter 87. Florida man bitten by Amazon crocodile while catching wild chickens for dinner. Entering the portal, Leo found himself in a dense jungle. In front of him was a series of mangroves and a large transparent river. Tropical trees packed together, forming a natural wall. The bushes and plants covered the entire ground that Leo, Gao Yan, and Wu Bai couldn't see anything underneath. The greenish smell hit their noses, and Gao Yan coughed. He shut his eyes and sat on the ground, meditating and circulating his qi right away. Wu Bai also narrowed his eyes. He summoned his flame spirit avatar and created a flame dome around them. A few seconds later, the scent vanished, replaced with fresh air. Leo raised his eyebrows and observed the two. He had no idea what they were doing and why they were doing so. From his perspective, nothing was unusual and the air was fresh. However, these guys seemed to be worrying about something. "What's up? Can't handle fresh air?" Leo grinned. Wu Bai wryly smiled. He wanted to complain that this mystic realm's wood element essence was too thick, and it was suffocating. He had to create a fire dome to filter out wood essence from getting in. Otherwise, Gao Yan would have died from qi deviation. "Please don't mind us, my lord. We can remain here and guard the portal. You can go and explore the mystic realm. Also, if you find anything good, please don't forget a souvenir." "I'm surprised you know that word. Anyway, there's no hurry. The portal will remain open for 34 days, so I'm going to help you set up a camp here first." "Wait, what? 34 days? Wu Bai was stunned. Normally, gates automatically closed after 10 to 14 days, depending on the difficulty of each realm. But here, Leo nonchalantly said that the portal would stay for a month. He was excited. With over 30 days, there were many things they could do. For example, the regular plants and trees around here were rich in wood essence. Just by inhaling a mouthful of air, he already gained 1 year's worth of qi. Leo didn't wait for Wu Bai to react. He walked toward a palm tree with a barbed red trunk. Similar to the pine trees near the Magpie City, this palm tree was over 5 meters in diameter. No matter how Leo looked at it, it was abnormally large. Ignoring the pointy surface and the sharp needles, Leo grabbed it and pulled it up. Rumble. The massive palm tree was uprooted. Wu Bai dropped his jaw as he gazed at the giant tree being lifted with one arm. Although he used to work out and lift logs before, he had never seen anybody uproot a tree with one arm. But what came next shocked Wu Bai. Leo turned around and threw the massive palm tree into the portal like a javelin. Wu Bai gasped and dodged the flying tree. A sharp root grazed his head, cutting a few strands of hair. Whoosh! The tree disappeared into the portal, leaving Wu Bai stunned. He had never seen someone transferring a natural resource through a portal this way, as most cultivators simply stored their items in their spatial rings. Leo didn't stop there. He looked below and grabbed a snake-like aloe vera. He uprooted the entire plant and hurled it to the portal. Then, he turned around and began pulling weeds and tropical plants in the area. Wu Bai gulped and wanted to tell Leo to entrust this task to him. However, he couldn't utter a word as he noticed something. As soon as Leo's hand touched the dark green plants, everything turned black, and the characteristic of the plants drastically changed. The alchemist widened his eyes. He finally witnessed how Leo turned regular fruits and plants into fine treasures. This must be why. This is his power all along. Wu Bai was elated. He believed he had made the right choice following Leo. At the same time, he regretted that his friends didn't get to see it. "Han Hao, you're a fool. You should have sworn allegiance to Lord Florida Man when you had a chance. Now, I'm going to monopolize everything." Wu Bai rubbed his hands while he filtered and dilute the wood essence in the air so that both he and Gao Yan wouldn't die from qi deviation. For a whole day, Leo did nothing fancy. He uprooted everything and threw them into the portal, collecting every resource he found. At night, changes occurred to Gao Yan. Green aura burst out from his body, followed by a rainbow light. It was faint, but his aura was similar to Leo's. Fire, water, wind, earth, wood, and metal qi gathered in Gao Yan's dantian and muscle fibers. As soon as wood essence in the air touched his skin, it got stuck on him, and they were slowly absorbed into his pores. Rumble. The presence of Gao Yan and his cultivation base changed. He reached the golden core stage, aka the fourth stage. His dantian volume expanded, and his dantian began refining a gold core inside him. Wu Bai quietly watched over his disciple with a bright smile. He was proud of him and he was excited for his future. Less than a month ago, you're just a weak chi condensation stage cultivator. Look at you. You've advanced 2 major realms within a month. While solidifying his cultivation base, body, and dantian, Gao Yan looked at his mentor. It's thanks to you and Senior Florida Man. Of course. Now, take your time and absorb as many drops of wood essence as you can. Wu Bai was relieved that Gao Yan was no longer in danger. He sat cross-legged and began meditating, cultivating the surrounding essence as well. Whoosh! Both men ignored the whizzed sound of flying logs, plants, and random objects. Soon, their mind entered a trance, and they stopped hearing the noises that I think you should take a look at. Meanwhile, Leo cleared the land and created an elevated area, which was suitable to build a campsite. He lit up a campfire, giving everybody a source of light and heat. After setting up a place for Wu Bai and Gao Yan to rest, Leo looked around, scanning the area. As he paid more attention, he noticed that over 300 lifeforms had been lurking and watching his every movement. More than half came from the mangrove river nearby. Leo's infrared eyes followed their life signature and looked up. Then, he found a dozen lion-sized chickens, standing on the top of mangrove trees. Their red eyes glowed in the dark, but they maintained a distance from him. After seeing the weird chickens, Leo salivated. He missed the good old fried chickens. Chickens. Oh right, I haven't built the goddamn livestock shed. Can I capture these mofos and bring them home? Leo chortled like a villain. He kicked the ground and vanished from where he stood. Less than a second later, he stood behind the horde of chickens. Upon getting a closer look, Leo discovered that they were not ordinary chickens. Each chicken had 3 snake tails and they had 4 legs. In addition, their eyes emitted something that made Leo recall the ancient legends. Crack. As soon as his eyes met with the chicken's red pupils, Leo's skin hardened. His muscles became rigid as if they were turning into a stone. Despite being on the verge of being petrified, Leo shrugged. I finally remember. Those yellow lightning bolts back in the day also petrified me as you did. Those days were hell. I even lost 2 legs when I first got hit by those. Well, thanks to that, my body learns how to regenerate lost body parts and repair my DNA. Boom. A thick layer of petrified arm skin came off. Then, Leo's eyes reddened. Ho cock. The cockatrices were confused about how Leo hadn't been turned into stone yet. They kept staring at him, waiting for him to become a stone statue, so they could feed on him. However, as soon as Leo's eye color changed, he was no longer affected by the petrification stare. He seized the necks of 2 cockatrices with bare hands. First off, let's see how your meat will taste after I mutate you. If you suck, I'll just put on gloves and put you in a cage. Po cock. The 2 cockatrices squirmed in pain. Their feathers and hairs fell off while the sharp claws of their legs scratched Leo's face and chest. However, they failed to leave a scratch wound on him. 2 seconds later, their skin turned yellow-brown as if someone had painted them with turmeric. After 3 additional seconds, they ceased resisting. 5 seconds. Welp, I don't have to remove your feathers. Thanks a lot. Leo ignored the remaining cockatrices on the tree and returned to the campsite. He tossed the 2 lion-sized chickens there and looked at Wu Bai. Wu Bai, I have a job for you. Can you cook these while I'm hunting? Wu Bai wanted to retort that he had to cultivate. He reopened his eyes and was about to refuse. But then, his eyes noticed the 2 large carcasses of chickens. As a veteran, Wu Bai recognized them right away. Earth cockatrices. Aren't those 6th stage cockatrices, my lord? 6th stage, 7th stage, I don't care. Just cook these damn chickens. It's unfortunate that we don't have vegetable oil here or I would have deep-fried these. Oh well, just barbecue them, boil them, or sashimi them. I don't care which. I just want some good damn chickens. After entrusting a troublesome job to Wu Bai, Leo vanished. He reappeared on the same mangrove tree, where the herd of cockatrice chickens were. All right, which one of you wants to be my livestock? If you resist, I'll kill you. If you surrender, I'll spare you for now, but I'll kill you later. Any smart ass that wishes for the 3rd option, I'll deep fry you alive. Now make your pick. Pocock. The cockatrices seemed to understand a human language. They were fumed with rage and they swarmed Leo. They pecked, clawed, and bit his arms and legs. Leo burst into laughter as they did something stupid. 5 seconds later, all chickens lost all their feathers, and they fell from the tree one by one. Florida Man collected his findings and tossed them toward the campsite. However, he failed to catch one of them, and it fell into the river. Plop. Rainbow color, the radiation contamination, spread from the corpse. It slowly spread along with a calm wave and turned colorless. Leo ignored the contamination process as he didn't need to be considerate of the local humans. He got down from the tree and shoved his arm into the river, trying to get the chicken back. He managed to grab one of the chicken's legs. But as Leo was about to pull it out of the river, something tickled him. Chomp. Leo looked into the river. When he discovered what it was, his eyes sparkled as if he was a child looking at his favorite toy. There was a black glossy caiman crocodile in the river. Chapter 88. Florida Man practices entomophagy while touring Amazon jungle. Gets bitten by Amazonian wasps, tarantula, black caiman, and snakes. Before the fallout apocalypse, alligators were one of many exotic pets that Floridians could own. Leo also used to have a license for keeping a few alligators in his backyard. He loved feeding and toying with these guys as he found them cute regardless of their sizes. Caimans were different from Florida alligators. Their perky eyes were higher, and their jaws were broader but shorter than alligators. Because of their smaller mouth, their bite strength was incomparable to crocodiles and alligators. However, black caimans were another story. They were the biggest water monsters among all caimans, which could grow longer than 4 meters. Moreover, the guy in the river doubled that size. It had 4 eyes and a forehead horn as if it cosplayed a unicorn. The sharp fangs and strong jaws also managed to dent Leo's skin by 0.5 centimeter. Zah! The caiman's hunting method was similar to other alligators and crocodiles. As soon as it caught Leo's arm, it tried to pull him into the river. However, it failed to move the old man. Realizing that it failed its first attempt, the black caiman initiated the barrel roll maneuver, trying to twist Leo's arm off. Crack. Unfortunately, what came off was a few of its teeth. Its other fangs also slipped off and it let go of his arm. Leo watched how the cute guy tried to eat him. He shook his head and glanced at the contaminated water. Then he deeply sighed. Shame. I wish I could catch you alive. Well, RIP ecology. This entire river is doomed. Leo pulled up the last cockatrice and threw it to Wu Bai. He then took off his clothes and jumped into the river to fetch the croc. The water was clear and transparent. Leo opened his eyes underwater and gazed at the caiman, who seemed indifferent after touching Leo's skin. He crossed his arms and waited for it to mutate. Betraying Leo's expectation, the caiman regrew its fangs. Moreover, instead of dying because of his radiation, the caiman's scales seemed bigger, and its horn shone. Its 4 eyes reddened, and they began gathering element essence in the water. Piu piu. Leo looked at his arms as something small and sharp hit his arms again. However, upon looking at the arms, Leo saw nothing but traces of bullets in the water. Oh! He finally realized that the caiman hit him with invisible water bullets, but they caused no damage. The attack didn't stop there. The caiman screeched underwater. Then, the horn emitted a strong electric blast and zapped Leo. Bzzz. Small branches of yellowish static electricity and flashing light around the caiman caused the water to ripple into a small circle wave. The shockwave directly hit Leo and numbed his skin. His hair was also slightly curled because of the electric shock. The corner of Leo's mouth curved down. Not only this caiman resisted the mutation, but it also benefited from the radiation. It reminded Leo of the monsters on Earth, which became so strong because of the nuclear fallout and natural radiation. Moreover, the electric shock earlier had the same strength as the yellow lightning bolts that Leo had experienced during his 4th mutation. Because of it, Leo suffered through countless curses and status ailments until his cancer cells became immune to every condition. As the caiman reminded him of something unpleasant, Leo stopped messing around. He lightly snorted and leaned his body forward. The next second, he jetted through the water at Mach 5, ramming the caiman. Boom! The river exploded, and the caiman was sent flying from the river to the sky. Boom! Leo also jumped out and caught the caiman's leg. Floating in the sky, he delivered a normal punch to its chest. Boom! The punch instantly blasted the caiman's thick skin and the innards through the back, leaving a gaping hole. However, the hole was too large. It separated the head and the lower torso of the caiman. Because of the momentum, Leo ended up leaping several kilometers away from the river. He used this opportunity to look around him to scout the geography of this place. To the north, there was a pyramid in the middle of the jungle. To the east, a town of skyscraping pagodas stood out from the rest. In the south, there was nothing worthwhile except the massive river that flowed to the sea. As for the west, a series of dildo-like mountains stood tall, penetrating the clouds in the sky. Although many landmarks attracted Leo, they were at least 100 kilometers away. Leo could barely see them on the horizon. Whoosh! Leo soon descended and landed on the soft ground. The caiman's lower abdomen carcass also fell nearby. Not wasting his food, Leo rushed to pick up his game. SSSAK. Leo had no idea what he had stepped on, but he sensed several small mouths on his legs. He looked down and found 5 colorful snakes latching on his ankles and shins. As they could do nothing to him, he shrugged and ignored them. Every step Leo took turned the lush green jungle black. Plants, grass, bushes, trees, and small animals received his blessing and mutated at a rapid rate. After 10 seconds of pushing through the high bushes, Leo found the caiman's corpse. He picked it up and carried it on his shoulder. Dok. Something fell from the wound of the caiman. A hard ball landed on the tip of his right foot's fingers, and Leo flinched. The object was hard. Although it caused him no damage, it reminded him of the greatest pain when he was a human. Leo crouched and looked at the object. He found a red orb which was the same size as an apple. He picked it up and brought it with him, hoping that Wu Bai could identify it. Boom. Once again, Leo kicked the ground and leaped to the sky. His destination was the previously cleared land. Unfortunately, he used too much strength and he flew over the campsite. While flying in the sky, Leo shouted at Wu Bai. Wu Bui catch. Leo threw the caiman's corpse and the apple-sized orb to the ground. Then, he waved his hand at the alchemist. I think you should take a look at. Wu Bai looked up in confusion. When the corpse smashed to the ground 5 meters away from him, his brain finally registered the instruction. He widened his eyes and inspected the monster's carcass. As soon as Wu Bai noticed the orb, he rushed toward it and measured its strength. He was soon stunned. A 9th stage monster core. Sent this monster comparable to immortals. After handing the corpse to Wu Bai, Leo looked forward and calculated his landing. He also gazed at the mysterious pyramid from a distance. Should I head there now? But there are so many beasts and fast food in the jungle. I can't just leave that precious food alone. As greedy as he was, Leo postponed the Indiana Jones project to another date. He landed 2 kilometers north of his campsite. Then he turned around, scanning through the jungle for life signatures of mammal creatures and big monsters. As usual, Leo picked up 100 life signatures of wild cockatrices. He also found over 1,000 1-meter-tall wasps as there was a massive hive 100 meters away. Leo rubbed his hands as he found them not challenging. He turned his attention to the wasps first as it was always fun to poke a wasp nest. When Leo was on Earth, he destroyed 6 mutated hornet nests for fun, and he got over 1 million years of lifespan from eating their nests and the hornets. He skipped and danced while he mutated the surrounding ecology as usual. A minute later, he reached the 3-meter-tall wasp nest. Looking at the Nope Hill, Leo wondered how many sane humans would summon Hans after seeing such a large natural architecture and long-legged stingers. Buzz. As if the wasps noticed Leo's presence, they rushed out of the nest and swarmed him. Their barbed long legs latched on him while a dozen long needles came for his face, neck, chest, and back. The stingers failed to penetrate into his skin. Leo widely grinned and grabbed one of them. Without batting an eye, he shoved its head into his mouth. Chomp, crunch. Ozzy would be proud of him. Leo tore the wasp's head in one bite, and he started chewing it in glee. He didn't even wait for them to mutate. Ding. Your lifespan has increased by 10 years. It was worth every bite. In just one mouthful of the wasp's nasty head, Leo gained 10 years of lifespan. Looking at the system message, Leo nodded in approval. He commented, bugs, bees, and insects are rich in protein indeed. Now where's the queen? I should domesticate it so that it can breed more wasps for me to eat. The wasps looked confused as they thought that Leo was supposed to be their food. However, he nonchalantly ate one of them, and he was unaffected by the stingers. The male wasps also looked at their tail and found that their stingers failed to penetrate Leo's skin. As a result, they worked harder, poking and ramming their butt against him. The trend continued for 1 hour. Leo managed to finish the first wasp and burped. Although the taste was disgusting, Leo gained 500 years of lifespan by eating one. That was not all. Leo found another apple-sized red orb. This time, he ate it and discovered something pleasantly surprising. You have eaten a 7th-stage monster core. Your lifespan has increased by 500 years. Holy alligator. I'll freaking do it again. Getting 1,000 years of lifespan by just eating a wasp was too good to be true. Leo grabbed another wasp and twisted it in half, planning to eat more. Crack. Strangely, Leo didn't feel any resistance feedback from the insect. Confused, Leo checked the swarm. Plop. The wasps turned stiff and stopped moving. Their former yellowish skin turned black, and murky fluid came out from their butts. Leo pursed his lips and shrugged. He assumed that the wasps got their DNA modified, and they died because of failed mutation. Since these creatures died too soon, Leo picked the nope creatures on his shoulder as he planned to bring them back to the camp. While Leo was busy stacking the corpses on his shoulder, several trees behind him fell. Then, a 2-meter-tall 8-legged creature jumped out of the shade and bit Leo's neck. Behind Leo, a black hairy tarantula spat green liquid on him. It also injected yellowish chi into his body. Leo sensed the weird energy flow entering his body. He slightly shook his head as he recognized it. Another yellow lightning user? You've ruined the mood. Leo raised his arms and grabbed the long fangs of the giant tarantula. He twisted them and pulled the fangs out. Screech. The tarantula screeched in pain. The next second, she regenerated her lost teeth and ran away. Leo turned around and frowned. He started counting time in his mind. 2, 3, 4. After 10 seconds, Leo rescanned the perimeter, checking the life signature of the tarantula earlier. It was still moving, and it sprinted toward the north at Mach speed. So, some creatures are immune to my radiation. Now, this is interesting. Although disappointed, Leo learned something new. He began to have fun as this mystic realm reminded him a lot of the nuclear fallout world. All creatures were immune to radiation, but they provided a lot of lifespans if Leo could eat them. Which cookbook should I buy? I doubt Gordon Ramsay knows how to cook spiders and wasps. I should check the Southeast Asia culinary books. They eat grasshoppers and centipedes, so they should know how to cook those, right? Chapter 89. Florida man pays his employee's wage with cooked wasps. 50 kilometers north of the mysterious pyramid, 5 portals brought 50 cultivators to the same world as Leo. Yan Xiang led 9 imperial bodyguards with him and formed one team. Tang Xian brought 9 people from the Tang clan while his son, Tang Ting, led the elders and disciples from the 6th Element sect. As for the other 2 teams, they belonged to the first prince and the second prince, who came with their close aides. Yan Xiang looked at everybody. When he noticed that the portals of the Tang clan and the 6th Element sect were nearby, he let out a long sigh of relief. I'm glad you're here with me, Chancellor. Tang Xian was slightly taken aback as he had expected to be separated from the imperial family. Unfortunately, he got stuck with the emperor again. I guess this is fate, Tang Xian humbly bowed. Well, the bigger the crowd, the better. Yan Xiang laughed and looked at the juniors of the Tang clan and the disciples of the 6th Element sect. He ignored the subordinates of his 2 sons as he didn't think highly of them. The emperor swept his eyes through the Golden Core and Foundation establishment cultivators for a moment before his gaze stopped at a certain disciple of Tang Tian. He looked at the master. Despite being 800 years old, Tang Tian looked like he was in his early 20s. His pale, delicate skin was spotless and smooth as if he was a young maiden. His beautiful face and silky long hair could make any adult man gay as he was too attractive to be a man. Had anybody looked at Tang Tian from behind, they would have always mistaken him for a lady. Fortunately, Tang Tian was not a member of the LGBT. He was a man through and through, but his face and appearance came from the exceptional genes of Tang Xian and Tang Tian's personal Tao. For the sake of making himself more masculine, he tied his hair into a ponytail and wore green dragon plate armor. His wooden fox mask also covered his face, and nobody could see his true appearance. Yan Xiang had keen eyes. He saw through the mask, but he immediately disabled his X-ray vision ability when he saw Tang Tian. He coughed to hide his embarrassment. Ahem, Tang Tian. I see that you have found exceptional talented disciples yet again. Tang Tian saluted. We were just lucky to have your support. Without the imperial family, our sect and our clan wouldn't have been this prosperous. More good men join us because of your prestige, your majesty. Stop with the flattery. Anyway, Yan Xiang got to the point as he had an eye on somebody among the 6th Element sect's disciples. He pointed his finger at one of the young men. It was Jin Yong, whose cultivation base was the highest among the disciple group. In addition, his poison element chi was the thickest among the disciples. What's his name? Oh, him. Tang Tian narrowed his eyes as he didn't want to let the emperor poach his trophy. He's Jin Yong, my core disciple. Oh ho, core disciple. Yen Xiang sneered as he had already predicted it. Still, he was amused. Are you sure he's not an illegitimate child of the Tang clan? How come his poison element qi is so thick? I think he must have already attained poison element essence. You jest, your majesty. If a golden core cultivator managed to condense any element essence, he would have been heaven's chosen child. That type of genius can only exist in 10,000 years. Yen Xiang scoffed as he had already seen through why Tang Tian avoided praising the disciple. As a quasi-mortal, he could see things that regular mortals couldn't see. Moreover, he also believed that a soul transformation cultivator like Tang Tian should have already noticed Jin Yong's talent. Floating behind Jin Yong was a Dao spirit, aka an incomplete Dao avatar. Normally, only nascent soul cultivators or soul formation cultivators had them as they were related to Dao, yet Jin Yong got one when he was only a golden core cultivator. This was proof of Jin Yong's talent. Yen Xiang couldn't help but want this young man to work for him. Ah, shame. Indeed, what a shame. Yen Xiang lamented. He wished that he could find Jin Yong earlier than Tang Tian. That man would have been a fine asset to his Imperial Assassination Squad or agent. After a brief chat, Yen Xiang didn't continue bothering the Tang clan and their people. He took flight and scanned the realm. The 9 bodyguards also followed the emperor. As for the 2 princes, they detached from the group, heading west and east respectively. Yen Xiang looked around him for a long time before he made his decision. He pointed at the pyramid in the south and ordered his bodyguards. We'll explore that structure and search for treasures. Cultivation and qi gathering can be done later. We must secure whatever treasures in that thing before the others take them. After delivering his order, his unit rushed south. Meanwhile, the Tang clan and the 6th element sex people remained at the starting place. They scanned the area to secure their exit portals. Then, they began setting up their camps and barricades to ward off beasts. Weak disciples could do nothing to contribute. They sat on the ground and started cultivating with qi and earth qi in the air. Even Jin Yong got stuck there as the dense qi of this world suppressed his movements. The elders of the Tang clan and the sect were the only ones moving. As they had numbers, they erected tents and cut down strange trees in a flash. An hour later, their camp and tents were operational. Tang Tian and Tang Xian's subordinates took their time. They began collecting plants, fruits, tree leaves, and herbs from the jungle. Then they offered them to Tang Tian to appraise them. Tang Tian inspected the palm leaves, aloe, moss, and raw coconuts. Then he started marking them if they were usable. As for Tang Xian, he explored the camp and made sure that they were secured enough. When he was certain that their defensive arrays were firm and active, he vanished from the camp. Whoosh! Tang Xian traveled 500 meters south. He directly appeared in front of a cockatrice horde. In front of Tang Xian, 20 cockatrices minded their businesses, pecking and eating a dead caiman. Strangely, small yellowish mushrooms pierced out from its scales, and the dead monster seemed to bloat. Svel.Siamakronem Tang Xian narrowed his eyes. He had a feeling that he had seen the mushrooms somewhere before, but he couldn't remember. As he came here to remove the monsters, he stopped thinking and got to work. A green Dao spirit emerged from the ground. It had the appearance of his younger self, but it had green skin. In addition, poisonous green gas emanated from its body. Squawk! Pocock! The cockatrices looked at the green spirits in confusion. Because of their reflex, their eyes shone as they tried to petrify the floating humanoid mist. Poof! The Dao spirit exploded, but the green mist expanded. The cockatrices inhaled them, but none of them reacted. Meanwhile, Tang Xian took several steps back and hid under a bush. Even though he was a quasi-immortal, he didn't let his guard down around a pack of 7th-stage monsters. These guys had the same strength as him. Fighting them in the open was suicide. The cockatrices ignored the gas and returned their attention to their prey. They continued enjoying their little buffet that I think you should take a look at. An hour later, they finished eating. The caiman was left with nothing but white bones. Even its monster core was eaten. Tang Xian continued to observe the chickens. As he noticed that the group had just finished eating a 9th-stage monster's carcass and its monster core, he let out a sigh of pity. What a waste. That's a precious 9th-rank monster core. I could have used that to make longevity pills. Well, it doesn't matter. One of them swallowed it whole. I can just cut open its stomach and get my hands on it. After coming up with a solution, Tang Xian waited for his poison to work. 5 hours later, the chickens started flapping their wings while their heads twitched. Some of them had a seizure while a few rammed their heads against trees. Tang Xian frowned. He remembered that his poison Dao spirit could only disable one's blood from reaching the brain. However, it didn't have this effect. Pocock! Squawk! The next moment they started fighting each other. One of them bit the neck of their comrade and tore the latter's flesh. Something wasn't right with these cockatrices. This symptom reminded him of a nightmarish incident of the ancient past 500 years ago. Tang Xian sensed a chill running down his spine as the old memory finally resurfaced. The flashback events when he and Situ Nantian fended off hordes of cultivator zombies and humanoid monsters came back to haunt him. The mushroom, sweet dream mushroom. Tang Xian finally remembered that the cockatrices ate the mushrooms on the caiman's mutated corpse. He connected the dots and he was horrified. Shit! The Chancellor kicked the ground and returned to the campsite. As soon as he returned, he ordered everybody. Retreat! This realm has sweet dream mushrooms. We mustn't linger our stay. The Tang clan's group was lucky as their portal was opened outside of the mushroom's influence. On the other hand, some sects didn't have that luxury. Situ Nantian and his Situ clan controlled 2 portals. Aside from Situ Nantian, 20 people from their city and clan entered the Green Realm. However, their portals didn't appear near each other. Their clan's portal was located on top of a straight mountain, 2,000 meters above sea level. As for the other, it was opened directly on top of the pyramid building. The cultivators from the pyramid portal were stunned when they found their portals floating high in the sky. They brought out their flying swords to stand on and save their internal chi. Everybody looked down. Then, they noticed that the pyramid was covered by yellowish mushrooms. At the foot of the pyramid, all trees were replaced by tall mushrooms of various sizes, and they didn't belong in this Amazon-like jungle and this climate. Nobody noticed the mutilated and compressed objects that had fallen on the ground in front of the pyramid entrance. Among them, a distorted and broken spatial ring of a former mountain bandit became one with the mushrooms while its ejected content was hidden under the sea of fungi. The Situ's clansmen and elders were under 500 years old, and they had never seen the mushrooms. They soon descended to inspect the new specimen. It only took them less than 5 minutes. They inhaled them. While some people had a mushroom party, Leo carried 20 mutated corpses of giant wasps back to his base. He calmly dropped them on a cleared plain in front of the camp. Wu Bai sweated profusely when he noticed the monsters. As they hadn't been butchered yet, he managed to evaluate their strength by injecting his chi into their monster cores. Leo ordered Wu Bai, "Do me a favor. Throw these guys into the portal for me. I'm gonna eat them later. Are you gonna eat those?" Wu Bai couldn't believe his ears, but his face remained expressionless. He started to get used to Leo's weirdness. Leo didn't hang around or respond to Wu Bai. He vanished into the forest. A few seconds later, he returned with more giant wasps. Wu Bai silently stared at the pile of wasps. Those were 7th stage monsters, and their strength was comparable to a quasi-immortal. However, Leo took care of them without leaving a wound. As Wu Bai couldn't think straight, he let his body act on its own. Like a robot, he collected all corpses into his spatial ring and pointed the ring at the portal. Then, he commanded the ring to eject the wasps. He was efficient. The wasps crossed the portal to the other side. Unfortunately, Wu Bai's hard work was underappreciated. When he finished sending 40 wasps to the other side, Leo already piled 40 more on the ground, and the latter didn't stop teleporting. Wu Bai turned around and scratched his head. He had a feeling that Leo pranked him. Can't he just use his spatial ring to collect everything? This is harassment. Again, Wu Bai collected the wasps and threw them into the portal. However, this time he kept one in his ring. Secretly, he used his chi to cut a piece of their leg and brought it out. Inspired by the Florida man, Wu Bai put the small piece into his mouth and chewed it. It was disgusting. It tasted worse than anything that Wu Bai had eaten. However, he sensed something from the insect's leg. It had a similar energy as immortal grass. Isn't this life force? Chapter 90 PETA protests as Florida man murders 2 Amazon caimans and seduces unicorn. Although many sects were sent to the same mystic realm as Leo, not everyone could get this privilege. Yan Zhu's people, the Fatui cult, the Death Sword sect, and other major sects were sent to other planets. Meanwhile, 2 organizations that Leo knew were in the same realm as his. At the east of Leo's current location was the skyscraper pagoda. At the foot of the structure, Hua Jiashan, Han Hao, Han Meng, Tiger Swordsman, and 6 disciples gathered and looked at the structure in awe. Their mystic realm portal was also behind them. 100 meters away, another portal brought the women from the Amazonian sanctuary there. They also admired the tall building as they had never seen anything like this. Hua Jiashan noticed the elders from the sanctuary. As he led a smaller sect, he went to greet them to give face. He went to the leader of the group, who was a thin woman in a wooden wheelchair. Despite sitting in a wheelchair, the Grand Elder of the Amazonian Sanctuary, Dongfang Mei, was a soul transformation cultivator, a realm higher than Hua Jiashan. Her age was the same as his, but Hua Jiashan had to show respect to this woman. Dongfang Mei had short white hair, sunken cheeks, and wilted skin. Her hunchback and her condition made her look like a 100-year-old grandma that needed her children's support. The Grand Elder gazed at the approaching man and recognized him. After all, he was like her little brother. Little Jiashan, you're here too. Senior Dongfang, it's good to see you again. You're still healthy, I see. Kakik, I won't die that easily. I managed to snag a bottle of rejuvenate tea from my disciple. Do you know that I'm looking 10 years younger? Hua Jiashan didn't know what to answer as Dongfang Mei still looked the same to him. He changed the subject. So, are you going to explore this building? We don't have a place for my girls to stay and cultivate. We might as well take shelter in that building. Oh, your group should come along. Just be mindful of the distance since my disciples are inexperienced with men. We'll be mindful. I'll warn them. The 2 groups came to an agreement that they would explore this place together. However, their disciples couldn't interact as they were too young and inexperienced. In short, romantic relationship between disciples was strictly forbidden. The elders of the 2 sects protected their disciples with their arrays and sent them to the pagoda. All 20 explorers entered the building. But as soon as everybody got inside, steel bars slammed down and locked everybody in. Boom! Han Hao and Han Meng rushed to the entrance, but the exit was blocked by the steel bars. They brought out their swords and attempted to slice it. Dong! A semi-transparent energy wall appeared and bounced the swords back. The 2 swordsmen took 2 steps backward and stared at the energy wall in shock. Hua Jiashan and Dongfang Mei looked around. Then they sighed. As usual, a cage trap. Yes, it seems this place is either a test site or a ritual temple. Probably the former. No sentry is here, and no sign of Qi Torrent is around. True, it was not the first time that Hua Jiashan and Dongfang Mei encountered this situation. They had seen similar traps and mechanisms in the other mystic realms before, and they deemed that this trap wasn't dangerous. Seeing that their seniors were calm and collected, the disciples and their subordinates didn't make noise. Hua Jiashan and Dongfang Mei also ordered the people to start cultivating and resting for the day. Wu Bai sweated profusely. After eating the wasp's leg, he sensed a strange life force energy, and he could feel that his foundation was strengthened. However, he couldn't take another bite. His stomach growled. Because he had never eaten anything solid other than grain pills all his life, his stomach rejected solid food. He felt nauseous and dizzy. Bleck! A minute later, Wu Bai vomited the food out. Some of the life force energy left him, but he managed to absorb a small amount. While Wu Bai was vomiting his food, Leo returned and dropped more wasps on the ground. Then, he noticed the condition of his employee. Ah, you ate it, didn't you? Wu Bai bitterly looked at his master. He nodded. Why yes, my lord. Leo shrugged. This is why you shouldn't be overly dependent on grain pills. Your stomach is very weak right now. If you haven't eaten anything solid for years, you should start off with light food, such as soup or something easy to digest. Chewy stuff is a no-go. Wu Bai wanted to argue that it was against common sense here as hard food was toxic to cultivators. Meat, vegetables, fruits, and other mortals' processed food carried a lot of impurities, and it would take a long time to remove them. Still, Wu Bai remembered that Leo had been eating strange stuff. He saw Leo eat immortal grass and golden sand banana before, but he didn't seem to have an issue with impurity. Fortunately, as an alchemist, Wu Bai had the mindset of a scientist. Because of Leo's example, he had new inspiration and a theory regarding hard food. What if our cultivation method and traditions are wrong all along? What if Lord Florida Man is using a more efficient cultivation method? Being inspired, Wu Bai got rid of his ego. He accepted and learned new things as if he was an empty glass. I'll keep that in mind, my lord. Seeing how obedient Wu Bai was, Leo felt bad for the guy. He thought of a way to improve Wu Bai's health and came up with a simple solution: the online store. Leo opened his system menu, browsing the medicine section in the store. He wondered if the modern antiseptic or any drug for underfeeding or excessive fasting. However, the drug section was overpriced just like the food section. Each pallet had a price tag of 10,000 YOL or higher. As Leo couldn't rely on modern meds or food, he could only come up with local ones. He looked around to see if there was any useful food ingredient for a malnourished man. He looked around the campsite. While looking, his eyes met with a lurking cockatrices, who warily stared at Leo 200 meters away. I think you should take a look at, right? Chicken soup. Not wasting time, Leo put on his gloves and vanished. 2 seconds later, he returned as if he teleported back, but his hands twisted the neck of the poor cockatrice. I have an idea, Wu Bai. Let's train your stomach with light soup first. I'll cook chicken soup for you. Oh, I'll cook for Gao Yen too. Wu Bai blankly looked at Leo. Although he heard that unorthodox sects refined monster meat into grain pills, he had never thought of eating monster meat as real food. Meanwhile, Leo had no idea what Wu Bai had been through. He hummed and plucked the chicken's feathers without mutating them. After the task, Leo paused for a moment and looked at Wu Bai. Do you have a knife? A sharp one. Wu Bai silently handed over his treasure-short sword that he kept for protection. Could also be used as a lighter or a flamethrower. Leo received the red knife and inspected it. Upon seeing the fancy carving on the blades, he pursed his lips and flipped the knife around. After getting the hang of it, Leo chopped off the cockatrice's head and the 3 snake tails. Pok. Skillfully and nimbly, Leo split open the chicken's stomach, removing its innards and blood. A red orb fell off its body and landed on the mushy intestines. Leo noticed it. He picked it up and looked at Wu Bai for a moment. Catch. Eh? Leo tossed the monster core to the alchemist. Then he bragged, I already ate too many. You keep that. When your stomach gets better, try eating it. It gives you 500 years of lifespan. What? Wu Bai forgot about his stomach pain and dizziness. His eyes brightened as he learned something absurd and astonishing. Really? My lord? Why should I lie to you? I already ate a dozen wasp balls. Whoops, no pun intended. Anyway, I can't let my employee live a short life. What do you think will happen if I show your lifespan status to future customers and find out that you have a shorter lifespan than the others? That's gonna embarrass us. So, as the face of my store, I need you to live a very long life. Okay? Leo didn't tell Wu Bai that he was full. As Leo only had one mouth to eat, he believed that having more mouths to eat this good food would earn him extra YOL income. Thus, he planned to mutate Wu Bai's stomach and enabled him to earn some YOL the same way Leo had done in the past. Once Wu Bai could eat random things and gain lifespan, Leo could scam Wu Bai by selling him some random products or essence stones later. In short, Leo was a witch and Wu Bai was either Hansel or Gretel. The former wanted the latter fat so he could eat him later. On the other hand, Wu Bai was moved to tears. He couldn't believe that Leo was so nice to him. He soon wailed, My lord, I swear with my Tao oath, I'll follow you to the end of the world. Yes, you should. Leo brightly smiled while he hanged the chicken upside down, draining more blood from the meat. He also glanced at the large river behind Gao Yen and Wu Bai as he noticed a horn of another caiman in the water. For the sake of their safety, Leo tossed the innards into the river. As soon as the bloody intestines and heart entered the water, 2 caimans jumped out and competed to get the food. Wu Bai snapped back to his senses and looked at the river. When he noticed that 2 ninth-stage monsters appeared, he shrieked in fright and crawled toward Leo. Seriously, don't you have any pride? Leo frowned at Wu Bai. But they're 9th stage. Hiya! Leo rolled his eyes. He walked closer to the river and raised his right foot. Then he stomped the ground. Boom! The river was split in half, but the 2 caimans were shot up to the sky because of the pressure. Meanwhile, Leo threw the red knife at one of them. Piu! Pierced through the first caiman's head. Piu! After going through the first caiman's head, the knife stabbed the forehead of the second caiman. Both monsters widened their eyes in shock before their consciousness faded to black. Boom! Boom! Both gigantic monsters fell into the river. Leo snorted and dove into the river and dragged the 2 monsters to the riverbank. When he returned, the river's surface was painted in rainbow color, and the 2 caimans started to turn blacker. Leo pulled out the red knife, but as he was about to reuse it for cooking, it broke. Leo felt bad for Wu Bai. He returned the broken treasure knife to the guy. I'll find you a new one. My bad. Wu Bai quietly received the knife and looked at the two ninth stage monsters. He had no words to explain the roller coaster emotions. T2 immortal beasts go down. Just like that? With my low-grade treasure sword? But does that mean Lord Florida Man will get 2 extra 9th grade monster cores? Oh, dear Lord. At 10 kilometers south of Leo's location, a white horse with a long straight horn gazed at Leo from the opposite side of the river. The unicorn neighed and trotted in excitement as if it had found something precious. The unicorn ran in a circle for a minute. After it had warmed up, silver light glowed on its hooves. Then it started walking toward the river. Instead of falling into the river, it walked on the surface. Then, it picked up the pace, charging toward Leo's group at full speed.